Eleanor Whitlock stood at the edge of a bustling metropolis, her worn coat pulled tightly around her. The city's cacophony of honking cars, shouting vendors, and endless chatter felt like a slap to the face after the grim silence of the countryside prisons and haunted villages she had traversed. But even in the chaos, she felt the weight of her mission. Somewhere in this towering maze of glass and steel was the 10th child, a boy unlike any other. She wasn't hard to miss now. With her name plastered across wanted posters, every security camera a potential threat, Eleanor had to move in the shadows. But there wasn't much time to dwell on her precarious situation. This child, John, was different. She could feel it. And so, she slipped into the city unnoticed, desperate to find him before anyone, or anything, else could. John was a strange boy. At just 10 years old, he already carried the air of someone far older, far wiser. His father, an elusive billionaire, was more myth than man, a figure who rarely emerged from boardrooms or private jets. John, as a result, had been left in the care of a rotating roster of maids and nannies. They doted on him, raised him, but never really reached him. For John, the world was a simple place, predictable, logical, and strangely dull. Pain didn't bother him. Emotions barely registered. By now, he had seen enough of life to understand its mechanics but not its meaning. Still, people were drawn to him, or, more accurately, unlucky people were drawn to him. Anyone who crossed John in the wrong way, be it bullies, kidnappers, or unsuspecting demons, found themselves at the mercy of a force far greater than anything they could comprehend. Like the time two kidnappers tried to snatch him from his chauffeur-driven car. Eleanor had been tracking John for days when she stumbled upon him in a private park, casually reading a book while two burly men in black hoodies approached him. She quickened her pace, her instincts screaming. But before she could intervene, chaos erupted. One of the kidnappers tried to grab John's arm, only to trip over a loose paving stone and crash into a thorny rose bush. The other attempted to pull a cloth over the boy's face but stumbled backward, hitting a beehive hanging precariously from a tree. The bees descended in a rage, their buzzing drowning out the man's screams. John barely glanced up from his book, an eyebrow raised in mild curiosity. Eleanor watched in stunned disbelief as the two men fled, one covered in welts, the other limping and dripping sap. She stepped forward cautiously, half expecting the earth to open up and swallow her whole. "Are you all right?" she asked breathlessly. John closed his book with a faint sigh. "I'm fine. This happens a lot." It wasn't long before the demons made their move. They came at night, slipping through the cracks in reality, their grotesque forms shrouded in shadows. Eleanor, armed with nothing but her resolve and a stolen dagger, braced herself for a fight. But the demons never reached the boy. One tripped on a roller skate left in the hallway, its grotesque form crumpling into a cabinet of expensive china. Another swung its claws at John, only to lose its balance and fall face first into an unattended vacuum cleaner, its roar muffled as it struggled against the suction. Eleanor fought valiantly, but every strike she made felt unnecessary. The demons were their own worst enemies. By the time the dust settled, Eleanor was nursing a black eye and a bruised rib, but John hadn't even broken a sweat. It was then that Famie, a demon with the voice of a serpent and eyes like molten gold, emerged from the shadows. "This boy," Famie hissed, circling John, "is no ordinary child. He has no soul. He is beyond the laws of heaven, hell, earth, and all other realms. He is exceptional." "What does that even mean?" Eleanor demanded, clutching her dagger. "It means," Famie said with a sinister grin, "that he is the most dangerous being in existence. Of all the apostles, he is the most feared. He is the one who will account for everything, every sin, every failure, every injustice. He cannot be swayed, cannot be broken. He is the reckoning? John tilted his head, as if bored by the declaration. You're wasting your breath. I don't need a demon to tell me who I am. After Fami vanished, Eleanor turned to John, her heart heavy with fear and confusion. Why didn't you tell me? She asked. John shrugged. You didn't ask. Do you even understand what this means? You're the chosen one. You're supposed to save us all. John met her gaze with a calmness that bordered on unnerving. I know what I am, Eleanor. And I know what I have to do. But I can't do it yet. Why not? She pressed, desperation creeping into her voice. Because the time isn't right, he said simply. When it is, I'll find my way to Christ. Until then, you need to stop worrying about me and focus on saving yourself. Tears filled Eleanor's eyes. How can I save myself when everything I've done has damned me? John reached out and took her hand, his small fingers surprisingly warm. You can't change the past, Eleanor. But you can fix the future. That's what you've been doing all along. Just keep going. The rest will fall into place. Eleanor left the city with a heavy heart, but also with renewed determination. John didn't need her protection, but his words had given her something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. As she walked away, she glanced back to see John standing in the distance, his figure silhouetted against the city lights. He raised a hand in farewell, and for the first time, she saw a faint smile on his face. Find your way, she whispered, wiping a tear from her cheek. And I'll find mine. The road ahead was uncertain, but Eleanor knew one thing for sure: the fight wasn't over. And as long as she had breath in her body, she would keep going. For the children. For the future. For redemption.